Jurgen left the break room, still holding his coffee mug on his lower left hand, half filled with a hot nectar. He had worked there, on the Apex main research facility, for 30 years now, and as much as the canteen food was absolute garbage, the coffee was wonderful. The Apex project had been established some 30 years ago, its headquarters being a secret research facility on the Iraqian desert. The kind of project and the kind of facility which you vehemently deny the existence of in the event of a Galactic Federation inquiry. The kind of project that some would classify as war crime and crime against sentience. They would probably be right. It all had begun when a scout ship for the Rockin' Republic found a new planet inhabited by a myriad of sentient species, organized into a pre-FTL civilization. As per protocol, the inhabitants were to remain uncontacted, and the ship began gathering fauna for study. One of the specimens collected was a small blue flower with remarkable properties, for it could be processed into a peculiar serum. All sentient lifeforms on the galaxy had evolved in somewhat the same process. The species attains dominance of its environment through strength, speed, intelligence, or whatever natural advantage it possessed, and proceeds to develop sentience over the course of generations. This newfound sentience is not a product of large genetic mutations, but a naturally occurring phenomenon that surges when the species' survival is assured. The new sentient beings are not very genetically different from their irrational counterparts, being still part of the same species, but eventually drive the irrational ones into extinction. This serum extracted from this peculiar little flower was capable of reverting this process, of turning a rational creature back into an irrational one. This often granted the victim all the natural instincts that lay dormant, stronger reflexes, increased resilience, heightened aggression and the likes. The Republic quickly saw the military possibilities of deploying such a serum against their historical enemies, the Swarian Kingdom. A secret meeting between top scientific and military minds was convened, and Project Apex was born, its goal being the discovery of a species that upon administration of the serum would turn into an ultimate predator. War Plan Sigma called for the cloning of this species, its transport to the orbit of an enemy planet, where they would be administered the serum and deployed to the surface. Afterwards, with their natural aggressiveness, strength and deadly properties, these predators would hunt all enemy life on the planet and destroy it. Afterwards, the planet could be purged via conventional means, such as orbital gassing or orbital bombardments. The correct employment of this tactic, or so the top generals of the Republic thought, would grant victory in months with no need for a costly siege. One thing, however, was clear from the get-go. The serum would be useless in irrational species. They would become stronger and faster, but would still lack the rational instincts required for the plan to succeed. The predators didn't need to simply be ferocious, they had to be cruel and cunning, enough to exterminate all enemies on the planet. The project didn't start as smoothly as predicted. Some of the most promising species turned into complete failures. Some could not cope with the effects of the serum and outright perished. Some were not strong or fast enough. Some were too frail. The Balrog were nearly perfect, but they lacked any sort of desire to expand their territory. But the main issue, which the teams kept running into over and over and over, was that the serum destroyed any trace of rationality, leaving the creature a mere irrational beast that, while ferocious, was still predictable and easily trappable. No cunning, no initiative, no cruelty, no bloodlust. The serum was too powerful. All Jurgen had to do was prepare a new specimen to test, and he could go home to a well-deserved weekend, sitting comfortably at home catching up on his TV shows. As he entered the main biodome, he couldn't but feel awestruck at the mighty structure. A completely isolated biodome, with several biomass contained inside, from frozen tundras to scorching deserts, meant to test the species in several environments. A research hub meant for the scientists provided a window into the biodome via one-way force field. As he peeked into the dome, trying to get a look at the species that would be still locked inside a cage, Jurgen very nearly spit his precious coffee. The specimen was pathetic. A small shivering ball of fear curled up on the bottom of the cage, devoid of furs, shells, exoskeleton, fangs, armor, acid throwers or any common natural armaments. Besides two flimsy upper members, it seemed incapable of defending itself. This was certainly Karkin, the intern, taking his revenge after the prank Jurgen had played on him a week ago. Poor guy was still so bitter over the whole swapping sugar for salt and coffee thing that he had decided to place a pathetic specimen on the list just to shorten his weekend. Good one, but you have no idea of the war you just started, Karkin, thought the scientist. Still chuckling, Jurgen aimed the gun through the force field and fired a blue capsule at the creature's back, the preferred method of administration to avoid any accidents. As the cage opened and the creature was hit, it immediately hunched over and started vomiting violently. Poor thing won't last 5 minutes. The weekend crew can pick up the body for all I care. It's time for my sacred weekend of doing absolutely nothing productive, said aloud a very amused investigator. Still amused with the little prank Karkin had pulled, Jurgen shut everything up and prepared to go home. His comfy slippers on, his coffee mug at hand, Jurgen was fully geared for a lazy Saturday morning when his hopes and dreams were shattered by a phone call. He felt tempted to ignore it, but deep down he knew that in this particular line of work, the HR department was very strict, so to say. Jurgen here, who's speaking? Hey man, it's me, Karkin, said the cheery voice of the intern. May I know why you disturbed my precious weekend, rookie? Just calling to ask whether you cleared up that last specimen. No, I did not. Why? Is he not there? When I shot him he looked just about ready to drop dead. Well, no body in sight, so either he survived or something crawled out of the forest and had a meal. Going to make the whole process a drag anyways. Well buddy, it's your problem. You know the purge drill, one day with 40 degrees temperature, next one with 0 degrees, and send in the crew at the end of the second day. Have fun. Ah, screw you old man. Karkin didn't get to finish the sentence before Jurgen ended the call, cutting off his farewells. And now for some well-deserved rest. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description.